Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why some women choose to live alone? No boyfriend, no partner, and not even a hint that they're searching? Most people assume they're lonely, heartbroken, or simply unable to find love. But the truth is far more profound and a lot more unsettling. Because when a woman decides to walk this world alone, she isn't falling apart. She's piecing herself back together. And that journey doesn't come with claps, hearts, or company. It comes with quiet mornings, fierce strength, and a freedom so deep it terrifies those watching from the sidelines. No, she's not desperate. She's discerning. She's not frigid. She just stopped setting herself on fire to keep others warm. There's something deeply revolutionary about a woman who doesn't require a relationship to feel valid, because she dismantles the story that women need saving, that love is her ultimate achievement. Most men don't know how to handle a woman who won't play damsel in distress, and many women are still learning to see their reflection in this new kind of mirror, a mirror that reflects power instead of emptiness. Carl Jung believed that everything we ignore in ourselves becomes part of our shadow. And these women, they are living, breathing reflections of that collective shadow. They are the dreams many hold but are too scared to live. They don't shout their worth. They whisper it in how they move, how they choose, how they stay true. They aren't here to entertain or attract just anyone. They step back, not to hide, but to protect the sacred space they've created inside. While the world screams that urgency is the only way to be worthy of love, these women discover the quiet superpower of being enough for themselves. A woman who chooses solitude isn't adrift. She's vibrating on a higher frequency, a place where nothing is forced, only invited, where validation isn't currency and presence is the ultimate gift. That's why she's judged. That's why she's labeled. Because behind her supposed emptiness is a magnetic presence that unsettles the comfortable illusions we cling to. She doesn't crave love that cages her or shrinks her spirit. She waits and stands tall until love arrives that holds space for her wholeness. Until then, she stays whole. She stays rooted. She stays unbothered. You might roll your eyes, call it arrogance, pride, or an emotional wall. But deep within you, there's a whisper, a tiny question you keep buried under noise. What if this path, this quiet, unwavering path, is the only true road to real love? The kind that starts inside. The stillness that surrounds her isn't a void, it's a sanctuary. Those who misunderstand call her cold or distant, but they don't see the years she spent learning not to abandon herself for someone else's comfort. Jung also said that what we refuse to face inside, we throw onto others. Maybe that's why so many mistake solitude for emptiness, when it might actually be the most fertile ground for self-discovery. While most chase external affirmations, she turned inward. There she faced old ghosts, childhood wounds, inherited fears, love that felt more like chains than wings. Her decision to be alone wasn't born from an open wound, but from a healed scar. She didn't lose faith in love, she simply stopped settling for the cheap imitations dressed as love. She knows chaos, intimately. She's poured herself into others until she disappeared. She's offered everything, only to be handed crumbs. Until one day, the pain turned into a lesson, and that lesson became liberation. What you see now isn't distance, it's emotional depth, and real depth scares people because it demands presence, honesty, and growth. She no longer chases empty promises, she seeks presence. That's why so many find her unreachable. She doesn't want a savior, she wants a witness, someone brave enough to see her fully and not flinch. When a woman becomes whole, she doesn't attract saviors or fixers. She attracts mirrors. She triggers admiration in some, fear in others. She doesn't want to complete anyone. She wants to walk beside someone who's already completed themselves. Until that rare soul appears, she chooses her solitude, not as punishment, but as devotion to her spirit. She isn't hiding. She's fortifying. A world that worships the couple and fears the individual sees her as a threat. Because she exposes a truth no one wants to admit, happiness isn't reserved for those with a +1. She hears you're too picky, you'll end up alone, no one's perfect. And she smiles, a knowing, soft, unbothered smile. Because what they call picky is simply the bare minimum she finally learned to honor. She doesn't want a flawless partner. She wants someone courageous enough to love her without breaking her. someone who has navigated their own darkness and doesn't use love as a bandage. This woman is a living challenge to everything society tells us about happiness and love. She isn't rushing to fill a void. She honors her rhythm, her timing. She wants depth while the world plays in the shallow end. She craves presence while most offer highlights and filters. When she says no, it's not a test, it's a boundary. When she walks away, it's not drama, it's a prayer for her own peace. When she stays in instead of going out with someone hollow, it isn't pride, it's self-respect. And that self-respect, earned through grief, disappointment, and revelation, is her quiet revolution. What terrifies people isn't her aloneness, it's her unshakable peace. Jung wrote that those who look outside dream, but those who look inside awaken. She chose the harder road, the road of tearing down illusions, confronting inherited wounds, and rebuilding from ash. She no longer seeks herself in another's eyes. She finally sees herself through her own. How many times have you doubted your worth because you were alone? How many nights have you wondered if solitude meant failure? She wondered too, until she realized it's better to walk alone in truth than to stand beside someone and feel unseen. That day, she vowed to never again settle for less than she deserves. Her journey isn't without shadows. There are moments of longing, echoes of old fears, silent nights that test her resolve. But each decision made with awareness strengthens her spirit. She learned that true love liberates, uplifts, and nourishes. It doesn't suffocate or demand self-erasure. And until that love arrives, she keeps growing, not out of defiance, but out of devotion to her soul. She is the living embodiment of Jung's individuation, breaking apart, confronting her own darkness, and emerging whole. Now, she doesn't want to be someone's missing piece. She wants to share her completeness. That scares many because it demands maturity, emotional honesty, and self-accountability. If she walks alone today, it's because each step is a testament to her self-worth. Every no she utters is a quiet roar of dignity. Every empty space she guards is a reminder. Love is never something to beg for. She has nothing left to prove. And in that absolute clarity, she becomes unstoppable. The woman who lives alone now isn't the woman who once begged to be chosen. Something inside her cracked open, and it was in that fracture that she was finally set free. Jung said that the tree reaching for the heavens must send roots into hell. She knows that descent all too well. She's faced generational wounds, family traumas, the collective pain of all the women before her. She broke the cycles. She refused to keep living the same tired story. She learned that it wasn't her duty to heal or save anyone. When she stopped settling, the world told her she was wrong. But she stood firm, at first shaky, then steady, and finally unbreakable. Because a woman who has faced her own abyss no longer fears emptiness. She learns to savor her own silence, to cherish her own warmth. She's not distant, she's just whole. She no longer allows herself to be consumed by anyone's chaos. There's a profound difference between opening your heart and letting someone tear at your soul. She still opens, but only to those who show up real, unmasked, unprepared to perform. She has learned to read the silent language of energy. Her intuition has become her strongest shield, her boundaries a sacred ritual. From across a crowded room, she can sense who comes in sincerity and who carries hollow words. Her change wasn't cosmetic, it was seismic, as if she remembered an ancient pulse inside her bones, whispering that she was never meant to just fit in, but to pour out, to overflow with wild, unapologetic life. In remembering this, a deeper self awakened, the untamed woman, fiercely intuitive, emotionally sovereign. A woman who, even in solitude, is deeply connected, not lost but found. She has become immune to the cheap labels cold, hard, difficult. Those words slide off her because she no longer lives for approval. She lives for expansion. She doesn't chase attention. She becomes a magnet by simply existing in her truth. She isn't waiting at the gates to be chosen. She holds the key and invites herself in. That reversal rattles those who still believe they can own or direct feminine power. But she is beyond their grasp. She has stepped beyond that invisible line. On the other side, she realized that love doesn't begin when someone picks you. It begins when you choose yourself, again and again. There's something almost divine in the way she moves now. She doesn't hunger for loud praise. Her confidence is a quiet, steady river, and in that softness lies an unbreakable strength. Carl Jung wrote that what we refuse to face within eventually commands our life. This woman, by choosing herself every single day, has become the author of a story too intricate for most to understand, yet deeply envied. She no longer tries to fill emptiness with borrowed promises or demands to be seen. She has learned that presence is not something to beg for. It's a gift freely offered, or not at all. When it isn't offered from authenticity, she simply turns away. She doesn't storm out in fury. She leaves with a quiet grace born from countless moments of losing and reclaiming herself. Many don't see that she still longs for love, the warmth of a hand, the softness of an embrace, but she wants it without folding herself into a smaller shape, without sacrificing even an inch of her soul's vastness. She offers herself fully only where there's space to be whole. That demands a maturity deeper than mere romance. It asks for raw self-awareness, the courage to hold your shadow close, and the audacity to love from there. She isn't searching for fairy tale illusions. She seeks a union of souls, a meeting where neither has to shrink or dominate, where both can bloom wildly side by side. If that feels too intimidating, so be it. She'd rather stand in her fullness alone than beg for fragments of affection. Some might call it arrogance. She calls it the purest form of self-respect. We are witnessing a new feminine archetype, a woman who no longer tolerates superficial admiration, who chooses depth over display, who would rather be alone than be half loved. When she embodies this truth, everything shifts. She doesn't need to shout. Her presence alone transforms the air around her. This isn't fantasy. It's the resonance of a woman who has weathered silent inner storms and returned not as a victim, but as a sovereign soul. She didn't destroy her fears. She learned to coexist with them, refusing to be ruled. As Jung would say, she found wholeness not by cutting away her darkness, but by weaving it into her light. She isn't closed to love. She just won't surrender to imbalanced connections that force her to dim. She craves love, but a love where she can be all of her shadows, her laughter, her thunder, her hush. She realized those who love only her good parts never truly love her at all. Those who crave constant sweetness are blind to the sacred lessons found in bitterness. She is too complete to settle for partial devotion, too untamed to accept chains disguised as care, too deeply feeling to endure surface-level connections, yet strong enough to stay on this path even when it's painful, lonely, or misunderstood. This is the path of a soul in bloom, sacrificing immediate approval for lasting truth. The world is terrified of women like her, women who don't need rescuing, women who refuse to bow, women who dismantle old rules just by standing in their authentic light. When she reclaims her story, she silently invites others to do the same. This is radical. This is freedom. She continues onward, sometimes with tears sliding down her cheeks, sometimes with her head held high, but always rooted, unshaken. She knows she is never truly alone because she has herself, and that finally is more than enough. The love that finds her now will not arrive to save her. It will arrive to dance beside her, to celebrate her wholeness. When she walks alone, the world rushes to call her lost, but inside, she feels an inner alignment, an ancient knowing. It's not arrogance or rebellion. It's the silent wisdom born only from solitude. The same wisdom Jung called individuation, becoming wholly, uncompromisingly yourself. When that moment comes, no external noise has power over the truth beating in her chest. That truth is felt in the gentle closing of a door without anger, in the soft withdrawal from a space that no longer feeds her spirit, in the serene smile that needs no witness. She finally understands being alone isn't punishment. It's a sacred promise to her own soul, and an awakened soul does not lower itself, does not shrink, does not plead. It simply is, and that is everything. The world will continue to whisper she is lacking. It will offer distractions, artificial love, fairy tale illusions, but she has seen behind the illusion, and she knows it was never about finding someone else. It was always about not losing yourself. When this realization fully lands, everything transforms. Longing becomes discernment. Emptiness becomes empowered choice. Waiting becomes a sacred journey. Old wounds become new wisdom. Feel that spark inside you, that gentle tremor? Maybe it's an echo from the woman you used to be, or the one you're becoming now. Something inside is calling you to be seen, to step beyond the outdated molds, to transform the way you hold love, connection, and most importantly, yourself. The woman who chooses to walk alone is more than a rebel. She is a living testament to emotional sovereignty. She doesn't rush ahead, nor does she follow. She carves her own luminous trail, and along the way, she ignites quiet fires for other souls awakening to their power. If this touched something deep inside you, it might be because you too are ready for a love that begins at home, in your own heart. A love that is quiet, fierce, and real. A love that doesn't bargain or beg, but simply resonates. If this love hasn't arrived yet, perhaps it's because you needed first to become the woman who will never again accept less than she deserves. If this message stirred something forgotten inside you, don't keep it in the shadows. Share it with sisters who need to remember their own strength. Like, comment, and subscribe, not because you feel pushed, but because you choose to. Because when something moves the soul, the greatest gift is to let it ripple through us and out into the world.